For 20 years, there was only one king of the internet. They didn't just own the market, they became the language itself. If you didn't know the answer, you didn't search for it. You Googled it. This was an empire built on a single white box, a portal that everyone on Earth used to find everything from local pizza to the secrets of the universe. It was the most powerful tool ever created, and it made Google invincible. They possessed the most brilliant minds on the planet. They owned the largest ocean of data in human history, and they had a money printing machine that generated hundreds of billions of dollars every year. Inside the glass towers of Mountain View, the atmosphere was one of quiet arrogance. They weren't just winning, they had already won. The competition was decades behind. But history teaches us one lesson. Empires don't usually die from murder. They die from suicide. They die from a slow, creeping paralysis called success. November 30th, 2022, a date that will be etched in Silicon Valley history forever. While the world was distracted by crypto crashes and political drama, a small research lab in San Francisco clicked publish. It wasn't a hardware launch. There were no flashing lights or giant stages. It was just a simple website with a text box. They called it ChatGPT. Within 5 days, it had 1 million users. Within 2 months, 100 million. It became the fastest growing consumer application in history, faster than TikTok, faster than Instagram. It was a cultural wildfire. People weren't just searching. They were talking. They were arguing. They were creating. The machine wasn't just finding information. It was generating intelligence. And it was doing it for free. Inside Google, this wasn't just a viral moment. It was a code red, an internal earthquake that shook the foundations of the company. Sundar Pichai reportedly called the founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, out of retirement. Why the panic? Because for the first time in 20 years, the core product, the search bar, was obsolete. Why click on 10 blue links when the AI just gives you the answer? But here is the most painful part of the story. OpenAI didn't invent the technology that is now killing Google. Google did. To understand this tragedy, we must go back to 2017. Inside the Google Brain Research Lab, a team of 8 researchers were frustrated. They were trying to solve the problem of translation, but the current systems were too slow. They came up with a radical new architecture. They called it the transformer. It allowed computers to process words all at once, rather than one by one. It was a leap in efficiency that no one saw coming. They published their findings in a paper titled, "Attention is All You Need." It is now considered the most important AI paper ever written. Every generative AI today, including ChatGPT, is built on this Google blueprint. Google had the magic formula in 2017. They had 5 years of lead time. They could have owned the entire AI space before anyone else even started. So why did they bury it? Enter the innovator's dilemma. When you own 90% of the market, you don't want to change the rules. You want to protect the status quo. Google's profit machine was tied to those 10 blue links. Every time you search for something like best insurance, companies bid to be at the top. Google makes billions every single day from these clicks. It is the most profitable business model in the history of capitalism. But a chatbot changes that. If an AI tells you the answer directly, there are no ads to click. There is no revenue. Releasing a chatbot wasn't just a tech update. It was a threat to their survival. So, Google became a bureaucracy. Every new AI feature had to go through dozens of layers of approval. Legal, ethics, safety, marketing. The engineers were suffocating. They were afraid of reputational risk. If the AI said something wrong or biased, the media would crucify them. They chose the safety of the basement over the risk of the marketplace. While Google was paralyzed, a small group of rebels in San Francisco were hungry. OpenAI started in 2015 as a nonprofit, co-founded by Sam Altman and Elon Musk. Their goal was to ensure AI benefited all of humanity. But by 2019, the mission had shifted. Training these massive models required billions of dollars in computing power. Elon Musk had left the board. Sam Altman needed a massive infusion of cash. He approached Microsoft. And he found a leader who was just as desperate for a win as he was, Satya Nadella. Microsoft had been the boring tech giant for a decade. They had missed mobile. They had missed social media. But Satya saw AI as the ultimate equalizer. He invested $1 billion, then $10 billion more. Microsoft gave OpenAI the one thing Google had: unlimited computing power through Azure. Now the rebels had the weapons of the empire. OpenAI worked in secret, building on the transformer architecture Google had shared with the world. They were fast. They were lean. And they didn't have a legacy business to protect. They fed their models the entire internet. Every book, every forum, every line of code. They weren't trying to be perfect. They were trying to be first. When ChatGPT launched, it wasn't just a product. It was a revolution. It proved that the innovator's dilemma is a terminal disease. Google's monopoly didn't protect them. It made them a target. The panic at Google was visible. Their internal messaging systems were flooded. Engineers were asking, how did we miss this? We built the technology. We had the researchers. How did they beat us? To save face, Google rushed out Bard, but the launch was a disaster. In a promotional video, the AI made a factual error. It was a public humiliation that wiped out $100 billion in market value in 24 hours. But the real damage wasn't the stock price. It was the brain drain. One by one, the original authors of the Transformer paper were leaving. All 8 of them eventually quit Google. Why? Because at Google, they were researchers. At OpenAI, they were builders. Google had become a university that paid people to write papers that other companies turned into products. Now the war is in a new phase. Google has merged its AI labs, Brain and DeepMind, into a single unit. They have launched Gemini. They are integrating AI into every corner of their empire. But they are fighting an uphill battle. Search traffic is leaking. For the first time, people are asking why to an AI instead of what to a search engine. The fundamental behavior of the internet is changing. Satya Nadella famously said, "I want people to know that we made them dance." And he was right. He forced Google to dance to a tune they didn't write. Microsoft doesn't even need Bing to win. They just need Google to lose. By forcing Google into an AI race, they are destroying Google's high profit margins. AI search is 10 times more expensive to run than regular search. Google is now forced to choose, lose market share to AI, or lose their profits to run AI. There is no winning move. This is the definition of a suicide mission. Yet, Google still has massive weapons. They have YouTube, the largest library of video data for AI training. They have Android, 2 billion devices in people's pockets. They have their own custom AI chips. But technology shifts are brutal. IBM missed the PC. Microsoft missed mobile. Nokia missed the smartphone. Being big doesn't save you. Being first does. This is a story about hubris, the belief that because you were the king yesterday, you will be the king tomorrow. Google was so busy defending their past that they forgot to build their future. Today, Sam Altman and OpenAI are the new celebrities of Silicon Valley. They are the ones who took the risk. They are the ones who were willing to break the internet to reinvent it. The war for artificial general intelligence is just beginning. It's not just about chatbots. It's about who controls the intelligence of the planet. It's about the successor to the human mind. Google is no longer the predator. They are the prey. And in the world of technology, the prey usually doesn't get a second chance. We are witnessing the changing of the guard. The king is wounded, the rebels are at the gate, and the final chapter of the search engine era is being written by a machine. Intelligence is the new oil, and the drillers are just getting started. The war for the future is being fought not with soldiers, but with servers and silicon. This is the Fortune Classified. We go beyond the headlines to uncover the hidden stories behind the world's most powerful empires. We find the truth in the shadows of money and power. If you want to understand how the future is being built and who is truly winning the war, subscribe and join us for the next chapter. The stars are waiting.